Good afternoon, viewers. Very good evening to you, viewers. You're watching 6 Stories at 6, and I am Rakhta Mishra with you with the Monday edition and fresh stories lined up for you. The big stories we're tracking. First is from Nepal, viewers. It's Gen Z versus the KP Oli government, but the protest against social media app ban has turned violent, has turned deadly. In fact, the army has called in shoot and sight orders are in place. We'll get you a lowdown of the situation from ground zero. Also, story number 3 on 6 Stories at 6 is the violence during Ganesh Utsav. The violence, the stone pelting, targeting the Ganpati Visarjan, viewers, in Karnataka's Mandya once again. Story number 3 is the anti-terror operation that is underway in Kulgam, Operation Gudar. My colleague Gursimran will get you more updates on that. Also, the other big story is from Bihar, where Congress MP was where Congress leader was given a shoulder flood review, a VVIP flood review. Viewers, we'll get you that. Also, the Ukrainian Prime Minister's statement on India tariffs, viewers. He has backed the tariffs on India. Also, finally, we'll show you what happened in Jerusalem as two gunmen, Palestinian gunmen, had in fact targeted people at a bus stop in Jerusalem, viewers. So we start with what's happening in Nepal, viewers. Youth-led protests called the Gen Z protests rocked Nepal today, especially Kathmandu, and the protest banning of they were protesting against the banning of 26 social media apps. They turned deadly, as more than a dozen have now lost their lives, at least 18, and more than hundreds are injured. The scenes from the streets of Kathmandu bring back the memories of protests in Bangladesh last year. The army has been called in, shoot at sight orders are in place, and there's complete anarchy on the roads of Kathmandu, viewers. Here's what has unfolded so far.
Nepal is witnessing unprecedented scenes. The youth of Nepal took to the streets and even attempted to barge into parliament. Thousands of protesters holding placards and chanting slogans raised their voice against the Oli government. The situation soon went out of hand, resulting in police firing at the protesters. Water cannons and tear gas shells were used to disperse the large number of protesters. In the heart of these massive protests is the recent ban on 26 social media platforms by Nepal's Oli government.
Protests are still continuing outside the parliament as we gather, and also in the periphery of the city, like Tinkune, where the pro-monarchy protests happened in late March and early April. So officials are still struggling to take the situation under control.
However, what started as a voice of dissent against the ban on social media platforms has turned into a bigger movement against escalating corruption, authoritarian governance, political instability, and misuse of taxpayer money. Many of these protesters are seen holding a unique symbol, a black background featuring a skull wearing a hat, bones crossed underneath. It draws inspiration from popular Japanese anime One Piece, symbolizing freedom, courage, and rebellion. The Straw Hat Pirates flag has previously been used in protests in Indonesia. The growing frustration among youth, fueled by the social media ban, has found its expression in this symbol. Will the voice of youth reach the Oli government? And is Nepal headed towards a major change? Only the future course of Gen Z protests will tell.
And viewers, once again, A Hindu festival has been targeted. This time the news comes in from Karnataka, viewers. Tensions gripped the Madur town in Karnataka's Mandya district after stone pelting broke out between two groups of different faiths during a Ganesh immersion procession. 8 people were injured in this incident. 21 have been arrested. A day later, massive protests broke out on the streets. Because of this, viewers, we've seen such news coming in from several other states as well earlier. This report will know.
Violence has rocked Karnataka. Stones pelted at Ganpati idol. Ganpati Visarjan marred by violence. Chaos on the streets of Mandya. Last night, as Ganesh idol atop a red tractor passed through a mosque in Ram Rahim Nagar, devotees dancing all around, situation turned volatile. Miscreants pelted stones at the Ganpati procession. In retaliation, another group threw stones at the mosque, triggering a clash. 8 people were injured in the incident. Case was registered, 21 people arrested. Section 144 imposed in the area. And hours later, chaos erupted on the streets once again. BJP workers and Hindu leaders took to the streets next morning to protest against the attack. Lathi charge ensued. Karnataka Chief Minister called it a small scuffle.
ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಸೀದಿ ಮುಂದೆ ಮೆರವಣಿಗೆ ಹೋಗುವಾಗ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಗಲಾಟೆ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಲಘು ಲಾಠಿ ಪ್ರಹಾರ ಕೂಡ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ನವರು. ಯಾಕಂತಂದರೆ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ನವರು ಮಾತ್ರ ನೀವು ನಿಲ್ಬೇಡಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳಿಲ್ಲ ಅವರು. ಗುಂಪು ಕಟ್ಟಿಕೊಂಡು ಗಲಾಟೆ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಲಘು ಲಾಠಿ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸುಮಾರು 21 ಜನ ಅರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ.
Karnataka Home Minister says that all those involved in the clash have been arrested and everything is under control. But meanwhile, BJP has accused the ruling Congress government in Karnataka of playing the vote bank politics.
सेंसिटिव इलाकों को छोड़ कर देते हैं, ये कहीं ना कहीं वोट बैंक पॉलिटिक्स से जुड़ा हुआ है. मैं आपसे इतना कहना चाहूँगा. जब आप वोट बैंक से प्रभावित होकर अपराधी तत्वों के खिलाफ कार्रवाई नहीं करते हैं, यूपी में क्यों नहीं होता, मध्य प्रदेश में क्यों नहीं होता, और अगर होता है तो 1 घंटे में शांत कैसे हो जाता है, ये बड़े सवाल है.
See, this is the whole thing is a cumulative effect of the conduct of the government for the last 2 years. The appeasement politics has gone to the hilt. Therefore, there are some sections in the society who have got guts to do anything and get away. That is the attitude they have now developed because government is with them. And they are never punished for whatever violence they do or whatever illegal things they are doing. And that very particular area has problems every year in Mandya district, especially in Madur, but they have not taken any precautionary action.
सरकार हिंदुओं को दमन करने का, हिंदू भावनाओं को दमन करने का काम कर्नाटका में कर रहा है. मैं इसको विरोध करती हूँ. एंड तुरंत ही कौन कल पत्थर फेंका, गणेश को अपमान किया, प्रोसेशन में बाधा डाला, उसको तुरंत ही अरेस्ट करना, कार्रवाई करना. नहीं तो ऐसे एक माहौल में कर्नाटका में हम बच नहीं सकते.
Any particular reason which started the pelting?
That yet to see, we need to interrogate them. What are all the reasons that lead to this incident that we did?
Mandya stands scarred, where the festival of faith now has turned into a battlefield of hate.
Now, viewers, an encounter between security forces and terrorists broke out in the Guddar forest area of Kulgam district in Jammu Kashmir after following credible intel about the presence of terrorist. Viewers, DGP Kashmir also reached Kulgam today. My colleague Gusimran Singh gets you more in this report.
In encounter is underway in the dense forest of Kulgam district in Jammu and Kashmir.
This is an ongoing encounter where we also see the army had received the injury of 3 of its boys. Among them, one is JCO. All 3 have been evacuated to the medical facility for the treatment.
Jammu and Kashmir Police, Indian Army and CRPF launched a search operation based on the credible intelligence about the militant presence. In the operation, 2 terrorists have been killed and 3 army personnel injured during the encounter between the security forces and the terrorists. Other terrorists are believed to be trapped and the gun battle is ongoing to neutralize the threat.
Today, after getting the specific lead about the movement of terrorists here in Gudarfor as well, the joint forces launched a search operation, and that search turned into an encounter when terrorists fired upon the joint forces. In this operation, as of now, 1 dead body along with arms and ammunition have been recovered from the apple orchard.
Body of one of the terrorists was found lying in the apple orchards and has now been identified as Amir Nasir Dar of Shopian district, and he worked for Lashkar. This is the second major encounter in Kulgam in the last 5 weeks.
Them 2 terrorists have been neutralized in an ongoing operation that is taking place in the Gudarfor as well, here in Kulgam of South Kashmir.
Earlier this month, an encounter continued for 11 days, making it one of the longest anti-terror encounters where 2 terrorists were killed. Kulgam remains on edge as security forces tighten their grip on the valley's terror network.
Now, Congress Party's VVIP protocol has been exposed yet again as Bihar reels under floods. A video of Congress MP Tariq Anwar being carried piggybacked by the locals during a flood survey in Bihar has gone viral. The video shows Anwar avoiding the slush and the flood waters as he rides on the back of a man wading through the affected areas while the locals walk through the muddy area and also supporting him, holding him. Now, this comes at a time when Congress leader Rahul Gandhi is enjoying his Malaysia trip. His Neta, meanwhile, goes out for a flood review, but it's a Maharaja ride, it's a VVIP survey on shoulders. Locals in Bihar continue to suffer.
Congress Party's VVIP protocols has been exposed once again. In a shocking video that has now gone viral, Bihar Congress MP Tariq Anwar is seen piggyback on a local during a flood survey in Bihar's Katiyar district. In the video, Tariq Anwar can be seen laughing and enjoying what looks like a Maharaja ride on the back of a flood-hit victim who walks barefoot on the waterlogged fields into the mud slush. Tariq Anwar was on a 2-day visit to his parliamentary constituency to inspect the impact of the flood in the area. But the Congress MP, who has been in this seat for a long time, has barely been involved in any development of the constituency. Despite this, Anwar was seen using the poor locals as his mode of transport to survey the floods. This called in for a huge criticism for Anwar as the BJP lambasted and accused the Congress Neta of having a sense of entitlement.
जिस प्रकार से कांग्रेस के सांसद तारिक अनवर दौरा कर रहे हैं बाढ़ग्रस्त इलाकों का, वहां पर भी इनको वीवीआईपी प्रोटोकॉल और वीवीआईपी फैसिलिटी चाहिए। मतलब जो जनता जिसकी समस्या देखने और सुनने वो गए हैं, उन्हीं के कंधे पर चढ़कर वो दौरा कर रहे हैं।
कांग्रेस की यह संस्कृति रही है, अपने जूते खराब नहीं हो इसके लिए 3 लोगों के कंधे पर बैठ कर के जाना किसी भी सांसद के लिए बहुत ही निंदाजनक है और इस तरह का काम केवल कांग्रेस के ही सांसद कर सकते हैं। ये वीडियो जो सबों ने देखा है वो बताता है कि आज भी कांग्रेस उस राजसी मानसिकता से बाहर नहीं निकल पाई है।
The Congress, however, defended Anwar's actions, saying he was unwell and that the locals carried him out of affection. Meanwhile, in reaction to the growing circulation of the video, Katiyar District Congress President Sunil Yadav claimed that Anwar had gone to understand the people's problems in remote flood-affected areas and he was unwell. Earlier, Tariq Anwar used various modes of transportation, including tractors and boats, to commute and meet the people affected by the floods. In one of the pictures shared by Tariq Anwar, he can be seen walking while a police officer and another man holds umbrellas, providing him with shade. In another video, he and a bunch of men are seen sitting on a tractor with everyone holding umbrellas. On the other hand, the Congress MP has defended his move on the growing controversy of his VVIP protocol. In his response, Anwar claimed that he was indeed affected by a sunstroke and the locals saw his discomfort and hence they picked him up and offered him a piggyback. He also confidently claimed that the people of Bihar will carry the opposition on their shoulders in the upcoming assembly elections this time.
ऐसी कोई बात नहीं थी। एक तो सन स्ट्रोक का थोड़ा असर था हमारे पर, क्योंकि बहुत गर्मी थी, और दूसरा ये कि वहाँ के लोगों की मोहब्बत थी। वो कीचड़ में कह रहे थे कि नहीं आप जाइएगा तो फंस जाइएगा, गिर जाइएगा, तो उन्होंने कंधे पर उठा लिया, और कोई बात नहीं थी।
This controversy comes at a time when Bihar is reeling under floods and other issues, with the polls slated to take place next year. Rahul Gandhi is seen enjoying his vacation mode while his Neta enjoys a VVIP treatment, only exposes the priorities of the Congress party.
The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has come out strongly in favor of imposing tariffs on nations continuing business with Russia, and that includes India. Calling it the right idea, Zelensky's remarks come at a time when the Russia-Ukraine war has seen one of its deadliest escalations in the recent months. Here's a report.
Amid the ever-escalating Russia-Ukraine war, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has come out strongly in favor of imposing tariffs on nations continuing business with Russia. After being asked if Donald Trump's sanction had failed, Zelensky said, and I quote, "I think the idea to put tariffs on countries who continue to make deals with Russia, I think it is the right idea." This comes after the Ukraine-Russia war intensified sharply when Russian strikes targeted Ukraine's cabinet offices in central Kyiv. The attack ignited fires and claimed at least 3 lives, including a 1-year-old child. Hours later, Ukraine retaliated by striking the Druzhba oil pipeline in Russia's Bryansk region, expanding the conflict into government and energy infrastructure. Heavy smoke poured from the upper levels of the cabinet building in Kyiv's Pechersky district following the overnight attack. Ukrainian authorities described it as one of the most severe escalations seen in recent months. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump has expressed confidence that the Russia-Ukraine war will soon be settled.
They're losing now. I used to tell you 5,000. They're losing 7,000 between Ukraine and Russia, 7,000 soldiers every single week. It's such a horrible waste of humanity. So, no, I am not thrilled with what's happening there, I will tell you. I think it's going to get settled. So I settled 7 wars. This, I would have said, would have been maybe the easiest one to settle of all. But with war, you never know what you're getting. But we're going to get it, I believe we're going to get it settled. But I am not happy with them.
Amid the tariff war raged by Trump, the global gaze is now on the conflict that shows little to no signs of abating.
Now, a major shooting in East Jerusalem of Israel claimed the lives of at least 5 people, injuring 12 others. Now, this took place at a major intersection at the northern entrance to Jerusalem. Following the attack, IDF soldiers were dispatched to the area. Searches underway to identify the suspects of the attack. What we learn is that the gunmen were from Palestine. Here's the full story.
A major shooting took place in East Jerusalem today. The shooting took place at a major intersection at the northern entrance to Jerusalem, on a road that leads to Jewish settlements located in East Jerusalem. This claimed the lives of 5 people, injuring 12 others. The police have said that 2 attackers were neutralized as soon as shooting began. However, they did not immediately respond to a request for comment on the status of the attackers. Israeli media reported that the 2 attackers boarded a bus and opened fire.
Probably the number of the dead one will increase, unfortunately. And the 2 shooters, they tried to kill as much as possible of the Israelis and also maybe some tourists that were on the bus in the north of Jerusalem and the Ramot Exchange Road. And this is some kind of terror attack that Palestinians used to do a lot in the past. They were bombing and shooting at buses, but after that they stopped because they understood it is not good for their public image and for their PR. But now we are seeing that those attacks are coming back, and this time those 2 shooters tried to kill much more people.
Footage of the attack showed dozens of people fleeing from a bus stop at the busy intersection during the morning rush hour. Paramedics who responded to the scene said that the area was chaotic and covered in broken glass, with people wounded and lying unconscious on the road and a sidewalk near the bus stop. Following the attack, IDF soldiers were dispatched to the area and are searching the area for suspects in cooperation with the Israel police. Simultaneously, IDF soldiers are also encircling several areas on the outskirts of Ramallah to thwart terrorism and strengthen the defense effort.
Well, that's all we could pack in this edition of 6 Stories at 6. Viewers, we'll be right back with more breaking news on the other side at 6:30.
Amity has been